Welcome back. Dale Myers with Vision Advance. We are going to talk about the ultra important step of preparing for launch. This case, we're talking about startup expenses. If you don't get this one right, your chances of success are pretty slim. Now, you've probably heard that like 85% of small businesses go out of business within the first 3 years. One of the main reasons is lack of money. Now, whether or not you have the initial amount of money is relevant, but it's also relevant, did you know that you didn't have the initial amount of money? Some of us just start a business because, hey, we want to start a business and we just go, and that's, hey, I'm all for taking decisive action. That's actually what leaders do. But effective leaders take the necessary step of planning. Remember, every hour of planning on the front end saves you an additional 10 or more hours on the back end. So if you really want to get your business off the ground the right way, let's make sure we understand our costs. All right, so we're talking about our expenses, and the reason is capital, money, moolah. We want to make sure we have the right amount of money. So it's two things we need to consider then. How much money? And what are my sources? Where am I going to get the money? An important term you're going to hear is working capital. Working capital. You've probably heard that cash is king. Working capital is simply the amount of money that's on hand in your business to deal with the day-to-day expenses. You have a team out there doing selling, or you're out there doing selling, and maybe you're in between sales, but you have some working capital to pay the rent. You have some working capital to pay the salaries until the next sale comes in, or whatever the thing is. It might be some kind of distribution. You're waiting on your next check from fulfillment, whatever the scenario. We do need working capital. That's what that is. A contingency. A contingency is a reserve, because again, things do happen. Bad things do happen. And I can go ahead and tell you, some people recommend that whenever you come up with your total list of expenses, that you multiply it by 1.5. Some even say double it. I'm not going to say double it, but at least 1.3 to 1.5, meaning if you think you need 10,000, estimate 13,000. That's all right. If you think you need 100, do 130 at least. It might be, you may need to estimate 150, because things always go wrong. It's just the nature of the beast. Despite our best planning, there are things that we cannot predict. And so it's great to have some contingency or reserve. So we're trying to figure out the bottom line number. How much? Because how much is going to affect our sources, who we get the money from. I hope that you're one of these people that can go say, hey, mom, hey, dad, I'm starting a business. Here's my plan. Can you give me the 1.5 million that I need? But most of us don't kind of live in that reality. So we need to be, we're going to have to do it ourselves. So let's go ahead and talk about sources of funding. Doing it yourself. Bootstrap. That's, in most cases, the preferred method. But then again, you could get some from partners. You and somebody else, you're going to bring on somebody, they're going to kick in some cash, you're going to kick in some. It could be an investor that's going to say, hey, I believe in you. I believe in what you're doing. Most savvy investors, by the way, invest in the person more than they invest in the product. That's why in some of my previous videos, I talked about the importance of working on yourself, because it's who you need to become in order to make this thing move forward. People, and as you improve yourself, people will bet on you. They will invest in you. Investors are actually investing in you first and foremost. So we said you can bootstrap and do it yourself. Investors, friends, and family. We'll do another detailed video on that, but I would say that no matter what, whomever you invest with, particularly with friends and family, you still need to draw up some agreement of exactly what the details are, what are the payment terms, those things. Again, we'll do a deep dive video on that, but we still need to be concerned about it. But again, all of that is relative, because for some of us, maybe we do have a family member that can give us $1,500 or a couple of thousand, but if the plan calls for $50,000, that might be a little bit of a challenge. So what are some of my expenses? There are different categories that they come into. First, let's talk about your building expenses. Okay, maybe, if you're a work from home guy, then maybe that's not as relevant as your existing expense. But If you're gonna go out and lease, you have two choices. So you can go lease, or you can build or buy. In any case, you would list the costs. Any improvements to the lease would be a leasehold improvement. You have building expenses. You're going to remodel the building. Those expenses go there. So there are lots of different expenses. I'm going to grab my cheat sheet to make sure I'm treating you guys right here. So building, I said, yeah. Construction, remodel. All right, good. We're good on that. Capital equipment. Capital equipment. This is furniture, your light fixtures in your building, any technology that you might need. What else could be up under machinery? All right, so this falls up under the category of capital equipment. And again, I'm running through this kind of fast to just give you the information, but based on all of these categories, you're going to list everything that might fall up under that category. And sometimes it's literally other. It's some other things that I may not have listed, but it might fall up under equipment. And then location. This would be like the rent you have to pay. Admin. This would be like salaries that you had to pay pre-launch. Maybe you had to pay some people to do some work before you actually launch the business, so that money has to come from there. What else is under here? Oh yes, of course, professional services like legal and accounting. Pre-insurance also. All right, inventory. Now this one can be huge. Depending on your business, you may or may not have inventory. So far, my service businesses, consulting, tutoring, and test prep, we didn't have much inventory. We're developing some digital and physical products now, so we will actually have some inventory that we'll have to deal with. If you have more than one product, you got to list all of the different things that you have in inventory and their value, the money that you spent on that inventory. Okay, and then advertising promotions. How much you spent on advertising, and this is all of your advertising. You did some TV, you did some radio, you did some digital billboard, you did some Facebook, some Instagram, some YouTube, all of your advertising costs. Did you print up some signs? So your printing costs, your flyers, if you did that. So all of these things fall up under advertising and promotions. Oh, travel and entertainment expenses. Sometimes we have to go and entertain people to try to get the sale. And here would be if you're going to pay a marketing and promotions consultant such as moi, or someone to help you with your strategy, such as moi, or some consultant, any digital consultant, any marketing consultant, all of that stuff will fall up under advertising and promotion. So again, you got lots of categories, guys. Don't let it overwhelm you. Go step by step. I know this is not the sexy part, right? This is the stuff that you don't really want to do. This is one of the greatest predictors of your future success. If you take time on the front end and identify properly your expenses, now I can plan. Because here's the thing. Earlier we talked about contingencies. How would I know my contingencies if I didn't do an accurate job of planning? How would I know my true working capital needs if I didn't sit down and map it out meticulously? Okay? So, again, this is just a startup form. This, and also with your working capital needs, you don't just pull a number out of the sky. Initially, you might just give it a rough estimate, but really you're going to do a cash flow projection, 12-month cash flow, where we're going to talk about month to month ongoing, how much revenue we expect to come in, how much expenses we expect to be going out, and what's our cash flow position. Are we profitable? Are we in the negative? All right. So that's this working capital and contingencies should be kind of based on our 12-month cash flow projections. If you don't know what I mean by that, again, that's simply just saying it's a projection month by month over the course of a year of how much revenue you predict will come in. And again, you're a startup, you don't know, but you make a best guess based on your analysis of the market. You make a prediction of how much you think you're going to make month to month, how much you expect to spend on all of these expenses right here. And then you use that to determine how much money I need to meet the needs of those expenses. And then what's my contingency plan if some things go wrong, and they will. So again, this video here was just about making sure that we get you off to a great start. The success is in the planning. Work on you, improve yourself, improve your attention to detail to do this stuff, to do the dirty work. You don't have to be all out on the different social media platforms bragging about your business. You should be working on your business more than you work in your business so that you can grow your business and enjoy the benefits of the business. So leave a comment below. Let me know what's been your biggest challenge so far with getting your startup off the ground. What additional things that do you need to hear from me so that I can help you get this thing off the ground? Let's go. Let's get moving. So we can pivot, correct wherever we need to, but let's do the dirty work on the front end. I'm Dale Myers with Vision Advance. And by the way, you can head over to visionadvance.com. I'll actually post in the next day or so, I'll post a link where you can just have a copy of a startup expense report you can download. So I will do that for you guys. Again, Dale Myers with Vision Advance. Enough talk. Let's go to work. Y'all take care.